I'm Dotson. I'm a filmmaker and surf photographer, and I'm featured here on the Frame Network, and stay tuned for some cool stuff. Gavin. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you too. But yeah, we're gonna head down there, so
cool.
I'll probably see you guys around. Are you guys gonna be on the left side?
Yeah, just surf the point. Cool. The left's at the point. That was a sick shot that you got, Malia.
Oh yeah. The one.
Yeah, she's stoked too.
Yeah, she tagged herself in it. You know, I usually go by myself, so having you guys there was kind of fun. You know, you jumped in the water with me, and you know, it's pretty cool.
It was definitely cold.
Yeah, so most of the time it depends on my mood. I like to go out, you know, and shoot with them in the water. A lot of the surfers, but I usually have a wetsuit. And today, today was kind of just like a normal day, except for the waves. We had a nice swell coming today, so that was nice. Yeah, I mean, Salt Creek is one of my favorite places to shoot. I've been everywhere. I've been to Hawaii, you know, I've been to up the coast, down the coast, San Diego. But this is my home and this is my spot, and I love it.
So tell me about yourself. Where did you start getting into this industry? What's your story as to how you got here?
Well, that's a long story. I guess I started shooting film back when I was 16 and doing a lot of skate videos, a lot of sports, just with my friends, having fun. And as I got older, I started getting into visual effects and trying to do experimental projects where I would add matte paintings and elements. And so I had to learn the aspects of photography, just the minimal parts, and in Photoshop. And so combining video and film and photography, I was able to create these worlds, and became kind of a passion. Over time, I got a little better here and there, but the only thing that kept me from keep going any further was, the cost of the camera. It's really expensive, so I used what I had and shot a music video for Disney Channel, and that was kind of when my career blew up, because I got the opportunity to work with, good crew, good camera, and after that, it was just easy icing on the cake. I started working on feature films, doing visual effects for a couple of years. A lot of technical aspects, like I worked on Avatar, doing holograms. So you combine all this technical work I've done, and you add my passion for surf photography. So my head kind of has too many ideas sometimes.
That's not necessarily a bad thing, though. I mean, from what we've seen, and you were kind of talking. You said you had a background in film. How do you think that plays into how you shoot now? Well,
a lot. I mean, it's the same thing. It's just, instead of one photo, it's 30 photos in a second, sometimes 130. I like to do slow-mo. So to me, photography and filmmaking are exactly the same. You're telling a story, and that story could be either one photo or multiple takes. Normally I shoot here on the left side, but right now it looks like it's hitting pretty good, nice over there. It's kind of, you know, unpredictable, right? So sometimes surfers usually are in one spot and they'll drift to another spot, but it's really not, they don't really go that far. They stay in the same area all the time. Occasionally get a couple people that drift off and you're like, oh crap, where'd they go? But a lot of people tend to just hang out on the left-hand side because it's more predictable. The sets are a lot more smooth. These ones on this side are a little more unpredictable, but we'll see what we can get. So how do you guys like this beach?
Nice. This is really nice.
Set right here. So most photographers use a tripod for taking photos. I use a tripod to hold my gear in case the water comes up. I just put my backpack around this thing.
You ever come back and found your, or lost your equipment? Someone take it?
No, that's her job. She watches it just in case, you know. So you gonna go surfing?
What's that?
You gonna go surfing?
I'm gonna surf my wife.
So today I'm gonna shoot on the 300mm lens. Usually I like to use the 70-200mm. It's basic f2.8. This one's fun because I get really close up in the action and you get really crystal clear images with the prime lens.
What's your strategy with like in and out of the water?
You mean going inside the water to shoot?
Yeah.
Well, right now I'm going to shoot outside the water. I like to kind of go knee, you know, kind of get like knee deep because, you know, this equipment's really expensive. You don't want to get it wet. I have a Outex housing, which is it just protects the elements from, you know, protects you from water and mud. And I'll go ahead and I'm going to put that on later. Today I'm probably just going to be like waist height. Luckily I haven't really had any experiences getting anything wet, but I have the Outex housing, which they are kind enough to hook me up with that housing. So I'm gonna go take some photos right now. I get close, so. Most of the time it's unpredictable. Usually when you get a good wave, there's another set, like a three or four. That usually dies off for a couple minutes. Sometimes there's no waves at all. Probably gonna jump in the water. I mean, the waves aren't that bad today. They're pretty small, so I'll probably just go throw on the Outex housing right now and get a little closer to the action.
Pat, I just saw Pat just going.
Yeah, I think I saw him. I didn't. What board is he on right now?
I'll see if I can tell who he is.
Yeah, just like wave your hand, man, and I'll just be like, hey, this is him.
Yeah.
So that way I know.
Yeah, I'll go sit by him and like do one of these.
Okay. Each surfer has their own board, their own design, and it's hard. You know, that's the difficult part about surf photography is trying to pinpoint your surfer, because there's 15 guys out there and they all look the same. Right now I have the Outex housing just protecting my gear. I'm not going to go underneath the water, I'm just going to be outside the water, but in case a wave does crash, my camera's going to be working perfectly fine. And thanks to Outex, you know, it's a cheap alternative way instead of using a housing. But I do guarantee if you want to use a housing, if you're going to be going inside, you know, between these barrels. It's pretty cold today, huh?
Yeah.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good.
I went out at 2 Street for a minute.
Nice.
So I was like, what?
So, it's not that bad. It's pretty mellow. Occasionally
No,
there's
it
some
looks
big
good
sets,
over
though.
here. Yeah, it seems like there's some really big sets coming out over here, but it doesn't look hollow. It's gonna be freezing.
I know. I didn't bring my wetsuit today. It's supposed to be hot in California, but not today. See you out there. Should have brought a wetsuit today. Usually I bring the wetsuit, but today I kind of wanted to get, you know, a couple pictures from outside the water, inside the water. So I just like to keep waist deep. Cody's worked with me on because I direct music videos and visual effects, and me and Cody worked on the Maroon 5 music video last year for Love Somebody. So good friend of mine, good inspiration, and we worked together a lot.
It was fun.
Right now he's visiting from where? Washington?
Seattle.
Seattle. So
All right, now we got some weed.
Filmmaking has always been easy for me because it's something I've been passionate about all my life, and photography came second. And photography's helped me with film, so they kind of both work together in a way.
Let's kind of start back. You said you got into shooting film and working on music videos and stuff like that. Talk about what that's netted you and like how you've turned that into something. I mean, you were talking about earlier. We were talking about, you know, some of these amazing large artists that you've worked for. I mean, how has that kind of fallen into place for you?
Yeah. Well, I've definitely worked with a variety of artists and directors, and I've learned a lot. You know, there's so much, you know, technical aspects that I didn't know when I was younger, and that I've learned over the years. And when I first started, you know, I had no idea how to shoot. I had no idea what lenses to use, what film stock, you know, what frame rate. But that was the fun part, getting to learn how to use, you know, learning how to shoot. So yeah, okay, music has always been a passion of mine, so I've always wanted to do music videos. And when I got the opportunity to work on anything, I'd do it. You know, I had a friend call me one time and say, hey, I got this music video I'm doing for this band, and I was like, all right, let's go. You know, I was really ambitious. And I still am to this day. But back then, you know, it was more about trying to create art and trying to create what was on my imagination and trying to help the director create what he envisioned. And I learned so much by working with all these people that I wanted to do it on my own. And so I got involved with a lot of like clients such as like DreamWorks Animation, Sony, lots of directors from different labels, and a variety of people. And it got a little nerve-wracking because I had worked with like some pretty high-profile artists like Katy Perry, and we had got hit up by a record label to save the music video from another company that they're having a problem. And when I took it on, I was really excited because it was a good opportunity. And not only that, I was able to show off my art and creativity, and luckily it paid off because now I got an award for it. So that's where, you know, where I am now, where that is.
That's awesome.
You see how the clouds are lighting right now? Like, it's really, really freaking pretty, man.
Yeah.
But usually on clear days, it's a little more difficult to shoot because you got the sun just glaring at you and everything's backlit. But on days like this, you kind of get this ambient look. Like, it looks like HDR, and you don't have to do any post-processing. The photos just come out perfect.
Well, like you said, in the sunsets, it's like for sure possibly going to be pink when it drops like right down below the horizon.
And the different colors, like just wait till a little later from now. The colors, that's like that bounce from that sun, and just you can't replicate that. Have you tried doing that in Idaho?
Oh, you're all the time. When did you transition into photography, and what kind of spurred that, and what was your kind of jumping off point for you?
Okay, so funny story. I never really was into photography at all, completely, and I never really was into surfing. It was something that I got into because I fell in love with this photography by Sarah Lee, and she's a good friend of mine. And she wasn't then, but she, you know, just like you have inspiration that you look for on a day-to-day basis. I don't know if you're like me, but I like to, you know, go on Google or Tumblr and try to find what inspires me because it kind of fuels the mind. And when I found Sarah's work, it was extremely inspiring, and so I decided, you know what, I'm gonna go give it a shot, go outside and go see what's out there. So I went outside my comfort zone, and that's how I discovered photography. Taking a picture for me is like saving a memory, and you know, I have a huge imagination as it is, so I could also manipulate it and, you know, create these worlds that don't exist. And people, you know, tend to love, you know, art, and I love sharing it, and people love, you know, it's just a combination of things. So I ended up making good friends with Sarah, and we ended up creating this film together called Kanos. I believe it's pronounced Kainos or Kanos. I have to ask her, but when we put that together, that was it for me. I fell deeply mad in love with the water, the ocean, and that's when I started doing surf photography. I figured it was a good way for me to, you know, learn more about the art of photography by putting myself into something I was passionate about, and it ended up working out. So now I go out there and it's just something I love to do, and it's something I get to do with my friends and share it with everyone else.
Definitely. So what would you say you spend more of your time doing now? I mean, you said that you're going out there pretty much every weekend shooting, you know, photos and stuff like that. Are you just kind of splitting your time? Are you still pretty active within like filming and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean every day. I'm full time. I'm a photographer, so I shoot corporate photography that pays the bills, and I shoot surf photography for fun. It's my passion, but you know, people know me for my surf photography, so I do as much as I can. Currently, it's in the winter time. It's a little hard to shoot because just the weather is just unpredictable out here in Dana Point. The waves weren't so good this year either. Last year around summertime, I get more light to work with. It gets darker around 7. This year it gets dark around 5 because of daylight savings. So it's a seasonal kind of photography event.
Definitely. What kind of like rattles your bones? I mean, what scares you? I mean, because obviously you're
everything
working.
Scares me.
Yeah, I
including
mean,
this interview, because I'm always behind the camera, like I told you, and the biggest thing for me is taking on a job and not delivering, because that's the risk. You know, nowadays there's so much competition. There's so many photographers, there's so many filmmakers and directors, and so we're always trying to push the bar. I guarantee it. You know, no matter who you are, you want to show your best work. And I guess the biggest challenge is, you know, trying to balance everything out in your life, because you want to just take it all and you want to make the world's best project, but realistically, you know, it takes balance and a lot of time, and I've learned that you gotta sleep. Because if you don't sleep, you know, you can fall apart, and I've experienced that a couple times.
definitely. So where do you, I mean, you're talking about with Sarah Lee, you're kind of finding her inspiration, stuff like that. Where else do you like find inspiration from? Like, what inspires you to go out and shoot?
Oh, everything. I mean, I have, you know, I'll be driving down the coast and I'll see a spot and I'll say, man, I really want to film there. A lot of the times my friends inspire me, just, you know, on Facebook, you know, everyone, you know, travel-wise, like different parts of the world, like so many things. Vimeo.com, you know, every day they're always putting their top picks. I hate myself every time I go there because I just I want to work with all these people. I mean, the other day I saw this film that this kid did. He's, I think, 20 years old, did an entire 3D film by himself, and it's phenomenal.
Wow.
So that's where I find my inspiration. I feel like we can do anything that we put our mind to, and I feel that it's up to us and how much of hard work we want to put into it. My goal as a filmmaker and a photographer is to mimic forms of nature and try to show different perspective of elements and models and surfing. You know what I mean? Like just trying to get what's in your mind onto a 2D picture. Like my goal is just to get my imagination and share it. That's it.
So do you want to keep photography as kind of your secondary tool that you're using and keep filmmaking, you know, as your big gun, or are you wanting to switch that? I mean, where do you see yourself transitioning your photography over the next, you know, year, 5 years, 10 years?
I have no idea. I mean, the thing with me is I usually just do what I'm passionate about, and you know, sometimes that changes over time. Right now, I see myself never giving up photography. I feel like it's part of me and something I'm gonna probably do for the rest of my life. Currently, I do make a living from photography, so it's definitely gonna stay there. But as far as filmmaking goes, filmmaking and photography, they're both to me the same, and that's what I like to do for the rest of my life. So I'm gonna continue doing that.
Well, I mean, honestly, you have a hell of a lot of ambition, and you have definitely some milestones that you've hit. For someone else that's looking to gain inspiration off of what you've created, what advice would you give to them?
My advice to any photographers or filmmakers nowadays is do what you love. Find something you're passionate about, shoot it, and don't get overwhelmed by all the success of other people, because a lot of the times we get overwhelmed by how much competition is out there, like, oh, I'm not good enough. But honestly, it's like 50% talent and 50% luck. It really is. You could capture one of the best images, not even know about it. I mean, I've had one of the pictures, one of my favorite photos, I never showed anyone. I published it, everyone didn't like it. But then you got a photo that I don't like and I publish and everyone loves it. You know, it's kind of, it's what you want to do and what you want to do as a person, and as a creative person, my advice is just do what you love. Simple as that. And your success usually comes from, out of nowhere if you just keep going.
Perfect.
Surf photography is just something I'm passionate about, and I plan on doing it for the rest of my life, and I do want to learn how to surf a little better. I started last year and I'm not very good, so tend to need to practice there. Definitely would like to travel a little more, go to a couple new places, and try to meet some new surf photographers as well to network with, and come up with some new work this year. I think nowadays there's no secrets. If you're hiding something, it's pointless. I feel like we should share our creative process a lot more nowadays. I feel like it's a great way for us to actually network and communicate with people. I mean, if I have come up with some new technique and I share it with everyone, people are going to recognize you for that technique. People that hide it, someone else is going to invent it eventually, and why would you want to, hold on to something and then have someone else, figure it out? To me, I like to share my knowledge in the creative process, and I also like to share my knowledge in photography and videography, because at one point I wasn't very good and I needed help, and there wasn't that many artists or photographers out there to help me. So when there was, though, I was very, very, thankful, and it does help. So a lot of people ask me, they're like, okay, well, why are you shooting surf photography if you worked with Katy Perry and Foster the People and all these bands and DreamWorks? And I tell them, like, look, it's not about the names, it's not about the money. It's more about how passionate I am as an artist. And when I tell people that, they just think I'm crazy. I mean, I tend to do this for fun, and the good thing about doing it for fun is I actually got hired. And the bigger clients I ended up getting because of, I would shoot something for fun and upload it to Vimeo or 500 pics, and someone recognized it, and then they say, hey, we got this project you want to work on. And I was like, all right, yeah, sure. So that's how I'd reel in my clients, just from my artwork. And I think that the bigger the jobs got, it didn't change anything. It made it, for me, it was just the same thing, just with more people. And it does get very, like, for me it was kind of a surreal feeling when I was at the VMAs last year with Kelsey Fields, because I was working with so many artists at the time, like Skrillex and Bruno Mars, and just having all those creative people around you all the time and working with them, it was just insane. I mean, I was able to, we were always creating new ideas and new concepts, and they were out of this world. So that's the fun part, getting together with more successful creative people and putting them all in one room, and that, it just gets crazy. When I first started doing this, I was really obsessed with the idea of going to college and getting a degree in art. And so I told my family, I was like, oh, that's what I want to do. I want to be an artist, so I want to go to school. Didn't work out. I lasted 1 week in art school, and it was because I was so fast-paced. I couldn't understand why everyone was going so slow. And I don't know if that's just me or if I just was too passionate or something. But when I was in art school, the learning curve was just, okay, we're gonna learn this in 3 years. Oh, we're gonna do this now. We're gonna draw circles and get better at them. Like, to me, it was kind of pointless, and I already knew what I wanted to do, so I decided, I was like, oh, I'm just gonna try to find a job doing what I love. And a couple weeks later, I ended up getting a job at this company called Rhythm and Hue Studios, and I had no idea what I was doing, but the guy that hired me was confident in me, and he said, oh, you'll learn, we'll teach you. And I got my experience through working for some pretty good companies. And if I could go back in time, I would probably have not gotten to, I probably wouldn't have went to art school. I would probably went to a university and got a degree, just a basic degree, and then did art on the side. Because for me, an art degree was more of a in my head kind of idea, concept. Like, I felt like you needed it to be an artist, and you don't. You just need to be able to have a camera and a lens and some time and shoot some stuff and practice and get some experience. As a photographer, most of my inspiration is just, it comes from, you know, films I see, and I get so lost inside some of these ideas that I come up with after watching these movies, that I'll sketch them out, and I'll plan them, and I'll shoot them, and half the time they never come out the way I wanted them to. But I get most of my kick in photography when people just end up liking and sharing it, because it's just kind of egotistic thing, you know. It's like, oh, people are sharing my stuff, like, this is great, I must be doing something right. But yeah, when you inspire other people, I'd have to say I did my job. That's it. I think a photo can say, you know, a lot of things, and if you take the right photo, it can tell a story. And if you take a photo that maybe someone looks at and they say, wow, I want to go in the water now, like, because that's what happened to me. You know, I saw photos and I was like, I want to go in the water, and now I'm the one kicking out the photos to everyone. And for me, that's what I love. It's just when other people tend to fall in love with my work and get inspired to do similar stuff. So
yeah, sunset is like my favorite time to shoot. I like to shoot backlit photos. It's a little different, you know, you don't get to see that much details. Occasionally, you know, I'll get lucky in the daytime and get, you know, a shot where I can see the surfer and everything in the background. If you're a photographer, I like, you know, to try to do things that are different, get different perspective. My favorite thing is, you know, the riskier, the better photo you're gonna get. So I like to, you know, take some challenges and, you know, go to different places, try to make new friends. But the best part about photography is trying to capture the moment, trying to capture, you know, someone doing something for the first time, or maybe it's a 360, a backflip. You know, there's always something new and fresh. Today we've been, you know, right now we're just waiting around trying to get the shot. You know, I got a couple good ones, so I'm a little happy about that. Half the time though, you know, the weather and, you know, the waves are unpredictable, but that's the best part about surf photography, is you never know what's going to happen next, and nature kind of is in charge, so you got to be careful. And well, a couple times, you know, I've been when I'm out there with the guys shooting in the barrel, a couple large waves, it gets a little crazy, but that's what the fun part is, you know, trying to get that picture that no one else has seen before. And then also, you know, just being out here with friends and, you know, having a good time. It's freaking cold.
It is freaking cold.
I wish I had a heater, or like, I wish I brought my wetsuit or something, but. How was it out there?
Good. Bigger than it looks.
It's been, well, I guess the sets have been kind of random. I mean, it's like small, and then all of a sudden.
It's really
bam.
good though. I caught one little left, and then I was just being a wuss. I wouldn't go into the peak.
Yeah, the battery's dead. I guess we got to go home now. But yeah, that's a wrap for today. This is Salt Creek in Dana Point. Best place in the world, man.
Hi, I'm Jeff Dotson. I'm a surf photographer and filmmaker, and I've been framed.